The results from the Achievement for All pilots were hugely striking. We saw children really dramatically improve in English and maths, sometimes more even than children who don't have special educational needs. So real dramatic improvements. And not just in terms of their academic achievement, but also their confidence and their willingness to go to school. Lots of schools that had reported persistent absenteeism found that that was dramatically reduced.
The outcomes for the 28,000 pupils who were engaged in the pilot from 2009 to 2011 have been absolutely amazing. All of the pupils that were engaged exceeded the expectation of other children identified with special educational needs in reading and writing. They also exceeded the expectation in maths. As well as going beyond the expectations for special educational needs and disability, they went beyond the expectation for all children. So 37% of that group exceeded all expectations in English for any child across the age range, which is 5 to 16, and 42% exceeded the expectation of any child in maths.
We've noticed a huge difference in the way the programme has affected pupils. For a start, the programme has really narrowed the gap between pupils with special educational needs and disabilities and other pupils. So attainment has risen faster in the SEND group than for pupils on average across the whole school population.
The impact of Achievement for All has been huge. 2 years ago, attendance was 89%, is currently 96%, so it's now above the national average. Persistent absence 2 years ago was 12.5%, and it's now 0.9%. And outcomes for students with SEN are now 44 percentage points above what FFTD says we could reasonably expect them to be. And in fact, the performance of the SEN pupils this year exceeds the performance of non-SEN pupils 2 years ago.
I think as a school we've become more aspirational for our students. I think when we saw our students working so effectively alongside the mainstream students, that made us look at other courses that might be appropriate for them and for their learning needs, and also to develop more personalised learning for them. 3 of our students have recently started attending the mainstream school to take GCSE arts classes and are learning really well alongside their mainstream peers, and next year we'll sit there at GCSE exams and they'll be the first students from our school who achieve their GCSE, which we're obviously very pleased about.
It came at exactly the right time in terms of our school development. We'd had a recent Ofsted inspection, and one of the outcomes from that, we did very, very well, thankfully, but one of the outcomes was that our children with special educational needs weren't quite making the expected rates of progress. So we really needed to look at ways in which we could improve that, and Achievement for All very much fit the bill for us in terms of moving those children forward.
My daughter Alana, she's 11 years old, and before she went into the Achievement for All programme, she was having a lot of problems at school with her emotions. She would get angry, and rather than deal with it in the right way by speaking to someone about it or trying to channel that in the right way, she would lash out and would often have a fight at school or verbal arguments with people. And it affected her schooling a lot because she was spending a lot of time out of the classroom and missing what was going on inside the classroom. So she was falling behind with work, which I think sort of like impacted on it even more, and it would make her more angry and more frustrated in the class. The biggest change is her attitude towards the schooling. I used to get such grief from her about going to school, not wanting to go to school, not interested in what she was learning at school, and it's completely turned around. She comes home from school, she's buzzing about what she's learnt, she can't wait to tell me about everything, you know, and it's an absolute pleasure seeing my daughter engaged again, where I was really worried about her before.
We've seen quite a few changes in James's behaviour. Some of the areas that we worked on were taking responsibility for his own books and his own items, making sure he knew where he put them and that nobody else was going to tidy up after him. And also we worked on his social relationships, which were things that perhaps wouldn't have been picked up on a normal meeting with a teacher, but through a deep discussion with a teacher, we discussed what they thought that were their issues, what we thought were the issues, and came to an understanding and something that works very positively for James.